Hi, welcome to our channel. For today, we will recap a sci-fi drama film called Arrival from the year 2016. The movie revolves around a linguist who works with the military to communicate with alien life forms after 12 mysterious spacecraft appear around the world. Have you seen this movie yet? If not, grab some popcorn and enjoy. The movie begins with a narration of a woman who laments that time and memory work in very strange ways. Her name is Louise, and she is holding her infant. The next moment, the infant is 6 and tells her that she loves her. Yet, in her teenage years, she starts to hate her mother. While visiting the doctor, Louise receives unfavorable news regarding her child. Disease soon takes over her daughter. As she enters a building, Louise continues her story about how time is simple like the day the aliens arrived. She walks by the people who have gathered around the screen in the building. She enters her virtually empty classroom and begins her lesson. Phones begin to buzz and ring right away, but she doesn't answer till a student asks her to turn on the news. There have been reports of a mysterious object landing in Montana and at least 8 other countries worldwide. When the classroom alarm goes off, Louise ends the lecture. Currently, 12 things have been found and are thought to be extraterrestrial in origin. She is on the phone with her mother discussing the news as she gets to her house. Louise quietly keeps listening to the news. Government agencies report that they have protocols for such scenarios. Louise, however, appears unaffected by the circumstances and nods out in front of the television. A couple of days later, Louise returns to an empty university, so she stays in her office and keeps watching the news. A man enters her office and introduces himself as Colonel Weber. He explains that because of her qualifications as a linguist expert, he wants her to translate something for him. It's a recording of an attempt at communication between a human team and the aliens. But with so little information, she can't respond to the Colonel's queries to form a definitive answer just from an audio file. She asks to go to Montana to listen to the aliens, but the Colonel turns her down. He exits her office while she stays silent. That night, a helicopter hovers above her house. It's the Colonel who wants her to pack her things as they will go to the site. She meets Ian, the theoretical physicist whom she will be working with. He mentions some of her writings on linguistics and remarks that science, not language, is the foundation of civilization. That morning, they arrive at Montana and Louise notices the enormous UFO in the distance when she peers out of the windows. After presenting them to their teams and outlining the mission's priorities, the Colonel enters and leads the two of them to their stations. They put on hazmat suits and get ready to board the ship. While Ian is excited, Louise becomes queasy as they get closer. The army trucks move toward the massive-looking ship from below. An elevator is used to transfer Ian, Louise, the Colonel, and a few other people inside the ship. As they approach the spacecraft, Louise begins to have problems standing on her feet due to the drastically different gravity. To begin communicating, the group walks near the window opening. Suddenly, the aliens appear outside the window through a thick fog. Strange noises come from the opposite side. When Louise sees the gigantic aliens, she becomes terrified, but the Colonel anticipates that she will begin deciphering sounds that appear to be coming from the other side. When the team returns to the base, Ian is throwing up on the other side while Louise is inquiring if she's fired. But he tells her that she's doing okay. They study the recordings and prepare to go back in after some hours. Agent Halpern is letting Australia's representative that apart from the weird noise recordings, they still do not understand anything. Louise returns inside with her group, carrying a whiteboard with her this time. In an attempt to start the conversation, she writes down the word human and approaches the creatures. All of a sudden, the creatures vanish, and upon their return, they begin writing weird symbols using black ink. They first show her one symbol, then a few more. When they return to the camp, Colonel Weber urges her to give more details and not just teach the aliens basic words. In response, she tells him that during the 1970s, native people and explorers made a huge misunderstanding of even basic words. So if they want to quickly understand the aliens, they have to let her do it her way. Prior to the next assignment, he advises her to develop a vocabulary list. After that, she meets with the Colonel and offers him her list. But he isn't impressed as the words are very basic such as eat, sleep, and drink. To help them understand, Louise breaks down their end goal and what she needs to do to know more about them. Colonel finally agrees and they prepare once again. Inside, she writes her name and they get a response from the alien. Suddenly, Louise gets an idea and removes her suit. She tells everyone that the aliens need to see her. She carefully approaches the aliens and slowly touches the window glass. The alien also does the same. They get to see each other face to face. She then calls out to them once more, and one of them offers her a news sign. Ian also takes off his suit and he introduces himself. Two further symbols, which Louise interprets as names, are given to them by the aliens in exchange. After the crew returns to the base camp, she suddenly becomes ill and recalls a memory about a child. Returning to medical, the physician warns her that she is endangering herself by removing her suit. Considering their current situation, the Colonel and Agent Halpern are willing to take the chance. Afraid that something might happen to him, Captain Marks converses with his wife in a phone call. Louise is working overnight on the symbols when she gets another vision of the young kid from her dreams. Gathering all the information the experts have found, the team arbitrarily calls the aliens heptapod. Apart from being able to see and hear them, they are still a total mystery. With no footprint, gas, or radiation, it is very difficult to know about them. Experts are still baffled as to why the heptapods chose to send those ships to 12 particular locations on Earth. As for their way of communication, Louise is leading the group. She finds out that the writing and words of the aliens are unrelated. Because of this, their writing is directionless and free of time. Next morning, Colonel Weber wakes her up and instructs her to interpret a real-time stream of General Shang having a phone conversation. Shang claims that his scientific team is deciphering the sets and that each of the 12 is providing cutting-edge technologies. The Colonel informs Louise that Russia and China are preparing to launch an offensive with their armed forces. He then tells her they have to ask the important questions. Ian, Louise, and the group return to the ship. She makes an attempt to develop a symbol and ask the question in their language. To which, the aliens respond, and Louise translates it as offer weapon. Back at the camp, Louise and Ian speak up for the aliens, claiming that the aliens may mean to say tool, not weapon. She has to go back again and clarify before they make a big mistake. The Colonel gets called by the Defense Minister and Agent Halpern tells Ian and Louise that they have to know if the aliens are prodding humanity to fight among themselves by offering the 12 countries weapons. They proceeded to the Central Communications Hub where they came to know China and Russia were now refusing to communicate with the other 10 countries. Louise gets mad and says that they should cooperate instead of making their own plans. Every other nation also disrupts communication. According to press reports, General Shang has requested urgent UN negotiations because he believes that aliens are attempting to split humanity and that action needs to be taken. Outside, some soldiers carry and put a timed bomb onto the ship. The heptapods become aware that something is going on. Louise and Ian board the ship's elevator to enter as the soldiers depart. As soon as they enter, Louise begins asking for the true meaning of the heptapods' words. They receive a symbol back. However, as soon as it fades, one of the aliens begins tapping on the window. Louise believes the alien wants her to hold on when it places its tentacle on the barrier. Images of the young could begin to flood her thoughts once more the instant she touches the window. 1 hour and 14 minutes, it imparts upon her their ability to write in their language. While the second alien continues to write, the bomb is detonated. The alien strikes the barrier just as the bomb detonates, forcing Ian and Louise back. They are pushed into a different area of the ship and a hatch is closed between them and the bomb, which is how the alien protected them from the explosion. Louise wakes up dazed in the camp. She is informed of what transpired by the doctor. When she hears sirens outside, he informs her that they are getting ready to go. She enters the room with people intent on finding the hidden message. Lousy interrupts them and tells everyone to explain to the aliens what happened. Abruptly, an odd noise emanates from outside. As everyone exits, they observe the ship changing position but not completely gone. In a conversation with his supervisor, Agent Halpern learns that China is the country to declare war on the aliens. He advises Halpern to prepare for any return fire from the aliens. The news reports that Shang has given the aliens a 24-hour notice to depart the country or risk war. It is believed that other nations are also imitating China. Ian and Louise are watching the video from the previous meeting. She sees her daughter again, asking about a technical phrase she doesn't understand, and then she wakes up back in the base. With the data, Ian has made a breakthrough. According to his analysis, the data only displays a portion of the 12 parts. They each give the details of a meeting with the FBI agent and the colonel, stating that cooperation amongst the 12 nations is necessary to obtain the full gift from the aliens. Halpern disagrees, claiming that their chief scientist was slain by the Russians, whose final words are "many become one." Louise believes that it correlates with the same thing as what they have discovered. Ian also suggests a trade of data with other countries. They ought to give over their data first so that the others will have to follow. Louise remembers from a previous vision that the term her daughter asked was the same one. At the same time, Black ink from the aliens comes out all over her hands. Ian pursues her and discovers that a shuttle has been dispatched by the aliens to retrieve her from the ground. Louise enters the shuttle and it transports her back to the ship. She is on the other side of the glass inside the ship. When she inquires about the second alien, one of the aliens approaches her and they immediately begin conversing. She apologizes and explains that she needs it to communicate with the other 12 countries. It just says, use weapon, but she doesn't know what it means and queries once more their purpose. The alien informs her that they came to assist humanity in advancing knowledge and technology because sometime in the future, the aliens will need humanity's help. She asks how they can see the future. From then, clear visions of the young kid are shown. We now know that the kid is Louise's future daughter. All along, it's a vision by the aliens. The weapon opens time, the alien explains. Louise is returned to the ground by the spacecraft, which then changes positions. Ian and the colonel greet her and inform her that other nations are following China's lead and leaving the camp. She keeps seeing glimpses of her future daughter, asking the same questions about her father. Louise informs the kid that she has disclosed information to him regarding an incurable illness that he was not prepared to hear. As the armies of the various nations get ready to fight them, all of the ships in the world begin to move. With her daughter, Louise is constantly switching back and forth between the present, the camp, and the future. She looks at the data from the aliens in the present and opens the book she wrote in the future. The alien tongue is the subject of the novel. She remembers it in the present and sees herself instructing it in the future. She suddenly becomes aware that she can read the data. She is aware of the weapon's nature. The weapon is their language. When a person learns the language, they will perceive time the same way aliens do. She tries to explain more, but the colonel no longer listens. About what will transpire in 18 months, Louise gets a vision. While attending an international festival, General Shang approaches Louise. The sole purpose of his visit is to finally meet her, because she helped save the world. Since Louise claims not to know his private number, he gives it to her and says, "Now you know." Now, remembering it, Louise waits for the call to connect. Army soldiers get wind of this and try to find his location. Halpern's men look for Lousy. While Louise keeps getting visions of her talk with General Shang, she understood their language, so she asks Ian to buy her some time. After some time, at a press conference convened in an emergency later that day, General Shang declares that China is stepping down and would share all of its information with the other 12. Solving the puzzle, the global fleet of extraterrestrial vessels starts to go away into space. The movie ends as Louise, now aware of the future, makes a family with Ian. She names her daughter as Hannah. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoy the movie. See you in our next video.